Welcome, everybody, to the Collector Series on WTCtv. My name is Paul Anand from the Wrestling Card Price Guide. I'm here with Mr. Tony Vela from WrestlingTradingCards.com. And today we have, I always say this, a very special guest, Mr. Ryan Bannister from RBI Crew in Missouri. Is it RBI Crew 7 or you just call it RBI Crew?
RBI Crew 7, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Hey,
Ryan
there's
is
there's six
one of
more of you.
No, it's just 7 happened to be my favorite number of
we're
my
going to get
favorite
into
baseball
how
player.
you name the store and all that, but Ryan's store is in O'Fallon, Missouri, which I presume is a suburb or fairly close to St. Louis. Yeah, not that far out.
Correct. Correct.
And you've just moved recently to a much bigger facility. We became known to Ryan a few years back when he first sponsored our main event at the National, and we become friendly with Ryan. And I've done a lot of business with
There
him.
you
As you know, I
go.
buy every insert set and every base set I can find, and I have suppliers all around the country, all around the world, in fact. And Ryan's been a great help to me in the last little while. So we're going to get right into it, Ryan. We're going to talk first about your store and you as a collector. Introduce yourself. Let us know how you got into collecting sports cards and everything else, and how did the store come about?
Okay. Well, first off, thank you, Paul and Tony, for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much. I've got to know these guys the past few years, and like you said, sponsoring main event. It was an honor to do that. So thank you again. But long story short, we started a YouTube channel back in 2007. Yes, we're dating ourselves here, and it was Neil and myself, and we were trying to figure out a name, and the name was I was RBI Sports Cards on forums. He was Drew Crew 7. His favorite player at the time was JD Drew, that wore number 7. My favorite baseball player of all time was a guy named Kenny Lofton, who also wore number 7. So when we came up with the name, we're like, what do we want to do YouTube? Because we're going to do box breaks and all that stuff. Back then, it was box break, one single box, and you would sell 30 teams. You guys know the rest. So basically, we came up with RBA Crew 7. Fast forward to 2011, at the end of the year, I go into a shop to deal with, like normal, in Florissant, Missouri. Go in to sell him stuff. He tells me I'm shutting down 2 months. What are you going to do with your inventory? I'll sell it. So we bought him out for $600, his entire shop for
What?
$600 in 2011. Cases included. I think he kept a few things. Times are different. You guys know this. You've been doing this a long time. So
Yeah, but even
we
that's a steal, man.
yeah, he told
That's
me 6, and I looked at him. I go, 6,000. He goes, no, $600. I'm like, okie dokie, here you go. So we buy him out, move down the street to a 1,000 square foot shop in Old Town Florissant, Missouri, where we presume to be there in that 1,000 square foot building from 2012, January 9th of 2012, until the end of 2019, when we moved to St. Peters, Missouri, to open up in January of 2020. Great idea at the time, much better area, more money out here, more living. 1,400 square feet.
COVID,
So we went from 1,000 to
COVID.
1,400. And COVID happens. And I'm like, uh-oh, we just made the biggest move ever. Our rent went 4x. We're in trouble. First 2 or 3 weeks, we saw this. And the next thing you know, the rest is history. So I guess it would happen to be at the right place at the right time for us, blessing in disguise, because we had built up allocation with manufacturers and distributors, and we were getting product, making a lot of money. We all know the rest of the story, how it goes with COVID and what it did for the sports card industry. That was already on a trajectory like this, but let's be honest, it could have been like this and then just went like this and then overnight sensation. We were in St. Peter's from 2020 until the end of roughly May of this past year. And now went from a 1,400 square foot facility, which we end up having two over there at the unit, so 2,800, to this 8,300 square foot freestanding building that we
Wow.
now own in St. Peters, Missouri, which is about 6 minutes away from the current shop. Saying you take this road here, turn left here at the old shop. We are, like you said, a suburb of St. Louis. The airport is about 20 minutes away from us. Downtown's about 35 minutes away from us. So we are west of St. Louis. So we are here. We are permanently here. We own the building.
That's
That
fantastic.
move was the hardest week of my life. Thank you. And I've said, if we ever move again, I will just sell and retire because I am never doing that again. So we now have everything under one roof. The shop itself, the retail space that is next to me out here, I'm telling these guys the podcast breaking room. This retail space is 2,000 square feet, and our event space is about 1,000 square feet. Which this Saturday we're hosting our first ever card show in the card shop with customers and dealers to sit up at that. So 3,000 square feet here. The rest of it is offices and warehouse. So it has been a journey since 2012. technically '07 when we started to formally become RBA Crew 7, but wouldn't trade it for the world. Hard times, tough times. Tony, I'm sure you've lived it as well.
Yeah.
And to where we are now, it's truly a blessing. So again, our journey started with a dream and a hope and a desire, and here we are 13 years later from when we opened our first door to a dream. So
Well, what's
I'm in
very
that same
impressive
boat
to
right
me.
now because I just I'm coming up to the end of my first lease here, which I can't believe it's already been 3 years since I opened the store, and we're moving. I just actually signed the lease this morning for the new place for a 5-year lease and doubling the size of my store 2 blocks
wow,
down the street. So
What's
it
very cool to
I'm
me is the fact
nervous.
that
congrats.
you've purchased your own real estate. And when I meet a lot of young business people, I say, look, if you can, buy. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, unfortunately, with commercial real estate. But a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, and this is something I've been sort of poking at Tony, I know you're moving to a bigger space, but I'd love it if we could get you your own store. Because what ends up happening is that guys run businesses, and at the end of it, all that's left is the real estate, because what happens is guys like you're the principals of the business. When you decide to call it a day, unless you're giving it to your sons or you have quality people around you, you're the business. It doesn't move forward unless Ryan gets up in the morning and busts it. But a lot of times Ryan's deciding, okay, it's time to call it a day. I've had my fun. But now all of a sudden you got a piece of real estate. And quite often on your
Mm-hmm.
balance sheet, that becomes one of the most valuable things. So that's hard to do. That's very hard to do, especially for an LCS, which is essentially what you are, a bigger one. And you're obviously the predominant player, I guess, in that quadrant. But that's awesome. That's something I'd love to work with you on, Tony, at some point, trying to figure out how do we get you into your own real estate so that you just don't have that noose of paying someone else. But before
Yeah.
we get into the wrestling end of it, Ryan, you said you started 2007. What was the initial product mix? Was it basically baseball, football, basketball?
So when we started breaking in 2007, it was basically football, baseball, basketball. That was essentially what we broke back then. Wrestling, there just wasn't a lot out there at the time. I remember opening '05 Heritage, all that type of stuff, but it just wasn't out there as much. We didn't really break a lot of wrestling. I would rip wrestling myself, but for the most part, predominantly, we had access to baseball, football, basketball at any times, little hockey, but most of our clientele were those three predominant sports. I would say baseball heavily being in the Midwest, St. Louis. Baseball was a lot more attainable everywhere you could get versus basketball and football. But again, '07, good year for football. We had Adrian Peterson coming off an '06 year, which was supposed to be an amazing draft with Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Lindell White, Jay Cutler, the rest is history. So football was big. And then obviously '07, you had Kevin Durant. So good time to start at breaking again. We started I think it was about fall of '07. I think we started our right at the end, right before I went away to college, or I was in college, going away to Southeast Missouri State is when we really started. So I was breaking in college and basically having a college life, working part time, playing sports, being a fraternity guy, and breaking on the side. I don't know how I did it, and I still know how I do things day to day, but I guess it's just the life I live. So
Now you and your son, you collect wrestling personally. So is that
correct.
is that what kind of drove you? I mean, obviously, since Panini and since after COVID, wrestling has just gone, and it's much more prevalent across the board. But were you guys collecting back then, you and your son?
No, so he really got into kind of wrestling cards the past 3 or 4 years, I want to say. Got really into wrestling himself. He did grow up, doing cards, going to card shows, ripping, 4 years old, everything like that. We would do a lot of basketball, football, baseball, and then he started really getting into wrestling, which I used to rip a lot of wrestling. I remember ripping 2014 Topps Chrome in a release. I remember ripping 6 cases at my house that night, ripping that for like $40 a box back then. It was awesome, and I didn't get anything to go home about. But I'm sure the things I got then are probably worth a lot more now, and I didn't realize it. But I've ripped wrestling forever. I date back to the early '90s of watching wrestling with my uncle, who would rent order the pay-per-views, record on the VHS. That's illegal, but he did it. And obviously, growing up with Shawn Michaels, Bret the Hitman Hart, so I go way back as far as my wrestling goes, and then my wrestling card collecting really took off. I remember ripping like 2010 Topps Platinum was a fun one to rip as well. So I've done wrestling throughout the years, but when he really gravitated towards it and fell in love with Bray Wyatt, that changed the element of me going, okay, I think I want to collect wrestling cards with my son. My favorite wrestlers, my Mount Rushmore, and I'm still one away, in my opinion, of my life growing is Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins. This is mine. So for me, I have one more piece there that I will decide later in life who is younger, probably not there yet, who is my Mount Rushmore. So I wanted to collect Orton, but then it kind of fizzled into Rollins while he focused on Bray. So we rip, and he would keep, he still to this day keeps every Bray card he pulls. Now we're on Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt Six. So, but it changed my appreciation for what it was about. It became a hobby again more than anything. I used to collect LeBron James autographs. I had over 120 different ones at one point with Upper Deck. I still have some very nice ones in my collection, but the building we talked about, I was fortunate enough to move a lot of my LeBrons to pay for this building. So that was the other best part about it. So I collected and enjoyed him for years. But man, I'll tell you what, since diving into wrestling and doing this with my son and the wrestling card community in general, there's no other community like it. It is amazing. The people within it look out for one another. They're genuine, they're passionate. Our friendships that we are building here is based on wrestling cards. So it really brought me back to the grassroots of what this hobby really is. Even though I'm a businessman, I run a store, I always am hobby first, but collecting wrestling cards has now become more of an addiction than I was. Like LeBron, I was like, oh, I didn't have that autograph. So I was just focused on LeBron on us. But now it's, well, Parker needs that Bray Wyatt. He needs that one-on-one. He needs that version. He needs to build that rainbow. I need that Orton. I need that Rollins. Now we're on to Howdy. So it's spawned out completely. And in the 4 or 5 years that we've been back doing this, it's crazy. And I'm sure you guys will contest this. What we were paying for cards even a year ago to what we're paying now in wrestling, it's night and day. And it's like, I don't know if I can keep justifying spending this type of money on those cards for a now soon to be 9-year-old next week. But man, he loves it. He appreciates it. And I'm blessed to be able to do what I do for a living. And it's not like it's my personal money and stuff acquiring this. It's my business's money. To me, it's investments. And it's time that with my son that memories that I can't get back. These are times that I want to do this with him. And next week we get to go to WrestlePalooza in Indy, which we were just there for Rumble in February. So taking my son and daughter, again, my two oldest, and he's getting to go to his best friend and his sister and their parents are going with us. Their first ever wrestling event is going to be WrestlePalooza. So we're excited about that. So it's become a family thing as far as just enjoying the hobby. Last weekend, we decided to rip a case of Cactus Jack, and on the counter I posted a picture. I had my youngest, me, Parker, my daughter, and my wife all ripping. And guess what I was ripping? Nothing. I was ripping the top loaders to be the supply guy. In my house, I'm the supply guy, but I'm an OCD, and I have very high anxiety. So when it's all going at once and everybody's flinging this, I'm like, just give me the cards, please. Just let me do it. So it's become a family thing, and that's what it's about. And again, no other ripping. We've ripped other things throughout the years, but when it comes to wrestling, it's, oh, Dad, I just got this Howdy refractor. He just gets excited, and that to me, that's what it's about, and that's what really is made it about for me as a collector and this hobby.
So then you must have been really excited at this year's national, then seeing how much wrestling was being represented there.
I didn't get to walk. So you guys got to do that. So I'm assuming from what you're saying and what you're gathering, there wasn't a lot of wrestling in that room.
No, there was a lot of wrestling. That's what
There
I'm
was,
saying.
okay.
No,
There
there
was more.
was.
Was there more than, okay, there's, okay. I didn't know how.
Like
okay.
everybody,
So,
like it's almost like everybody and their mother decided, obviously with Hogan passing away just a couple weeks before that, everybody and
correct.
their mother brought anything and everything wrestling related with them. And it was
Okay.
just, it was everywhere, which was exciting for us because we got to see all
That's
kinds of
awesome.
things.
This
Not
is the
only
first
just
time I'm hearing
cards,
this, man.
yeah, not only just cards, but even like memorabilia, frame photos, paintings. I mean, oddball things you hadn't seen from the 80s and 90s. I mean, just everything was there. Everything. It was incredible.
That's awesome to hear. I knew several people with wrestling. Like I said, I didn't get to walk much at all, and that's normal for me. So But I did have a lot of people looking out for me when they were walking around, let me know some pieces. I was able to acquire the Randy Orton 24 Prism Black Finite 101 that walked up to Brian THE's table, that got pulled by a kid from a blaster box he bought from Blowout the night before. So luckily, people were looking out for me, so I didn't have to really go, oh man, I'm missing out. Chad, Sports Card Junction has an incredible wrestling selection as well.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I had a 101 Gunther inscription auto walk up to me. I bought that and then was like, Chad, look what I just bought you. We're going to be talking later, you know. So, no, that's good to hear. And I think we're all seeing the growth of wrestling and the appreciation for the cards. With that comes good and bad things. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that as well. But that's awesome to hear that you guys, as much as you both love wrestling, got to walk around and really sounds like see the most wrestling you've ever seen in the National in your life.
Yeah, and we'd split up a little bit sometimes too because we had different agendas and doing things, and it's like, like you said, people are looking out for you. So I'm like, I'm in one of the building, and then Ryan will be over at Chad's booths like that or whatever,
Yeah.
working and say, hey, you got to get over here because someone just got a bunch of Dexter Loomis stuff, and you got to come get this stuff right now. Like, okay, run across the building, go get it. So it's people looking out for each other is always really cool.
So speaking of Dexter Loomis, since my kids collect them at 6 now, I acquired the Topps Super Auto Redemption this year, and we got it in, and I like posted it and tag or put in my store, and I tagged Loomis. He then started messaging us, and I was starting to talk to me and my son in Instagram messages. He was really cool. He's like, "Oh, I remember signing that," and then we acquired the Flawless 101 Relic Auto where he did some cool inscriptions on, and I sent that to him as well. So he was really really cool. And Parker thought that was the coolest thing in the world that he was kind of just chatting with us. So I thought that was awesome. Don't worry, we're not going heavy on Dexter. We're not going heavy.
Pieces I'll never see, but that's okay.
That's
I'm
okay.
having fun because I'm a player collect.
Well, you know where they're at, and you could
Yep.
probably Parker will trade if you have something Bray or Howdy. He done some trades before. People are like, look, I know it's your kids' cards. What if I make this offer with these Brays? And it works out because sometimes Parker's like, cool, I want 4 of those versus the one. So
Yeah,
they're his
yeah.
cards. I
I
let
mean,
him decide.
I've never been one who goes after like the one of ones. I don't have a FOMO effect with that kind of stuff. I think it's cool.
That's
I
good.
just I'm just having fun collecting what I collect. When anything that comes through my door or I'm able to acquire, I don't care if it's a base card. I get people who just come in here and say, "Hey, you collect Loomis? Here's some base card." I'll hoard it. I don't care. Or lucky to get a National Treasures one of one or something like that. I'll take that. It doesn't matter to me.
I'll
Just having
keep
fun.
you in the loop. I'll keep you in the, I know a couple other Dexter collectors that if they ever want to move off some of the stuff they have, I'll be sure to reach out to you, Tony.
As one of the preeminent sort of wrestling resellers on the continent probably now, how would you categorize wrestling relative to like, do you make money at it? Does it represent 2% of your business, 5% of your business? Like
Yeah.
put on your entrepreneur hat and say, okay, I'm sitting with making my plans on what I'm going to buy. How big is wrestling overall to your business and to your world? Because it's gotten
So,
bigger.
I mean,
Your
obvious.
national display was unbelievable.
Well, thank you. A lot of that goes to my wrestling ripping addiction.
Yeah.
But, and we do acquire a lot. So, yeah, so wrestling, whenever Panini got the licensing, I saw an opportunity to really go heavy in. I thought, not just Panini getting it, but I felt wrestling was going to continue to grow worldwide as it is now. Obviously, the Netflix deal. Now we had the ESPN deal. I felt wrestling was grossly undervalued and appreciative as far as the wrestling cards go. And I saw an opportunity being, like you said, an entrepreneur and a business owner. The opportunity was I had access to buy a lot from not just Panini itself, but distributors who I have great relationship with. One I have a phenomenal relationship with, and I saw an opportunity to go, look, I want to buy as much wrestling as I can in this 3-year window because we knew the second 22 Prism release that same day is when Fanatics announced the WWE long-term relationship deal. We knew that 3-year deal was 3 years and done with Panini
Yep.
instantly. We all knew it. So we knew what Panini did as far as their cards, as far as what they bring to the table, as far as value in other sports and what it gauges. I had a feeling that Panini was going to knock this opportunity out of the ballpark, and they did. And the only thing that they didn't do after year one, and it wasn't on them, it was the cooperation with the WWE, to my understanding, was get more match use worn stuff. And that was not Panini's doing. That was more WWE basically working with Fanatics at that point. So again, backtracking, I had opportunity to go in and buy 30, 40, 50, 100 cases of wrestling products. I would buy them at higher prices. I would reach out to shops. I want to buy your wrestling. So obviously 22 Prism was stupid when it came out. We all remember what were boxes of hobby up to $1,500 a box,
Oh,
which
yep.
was overhyped. It was nuts. But I remember buying those at a super high price, not there, and did really well flipping. And then obviously they crashed, and that I think really deterred people away. The Prism off the gate, and it wasn't Panini's doing. I think the I would say the not the marketing, but the influence by many people that this was going to be the next big thing, and it didn't hold up to it. It's hard to rip a box of that at $1,500 and get $100 back. It was built to
Yep.
be, I think at the time was built to be a maybe
It was supposed to
120,
be like,
150,
yeah, it was like a
120, 150.
159.99 or something like that. It was like
Yeah,
it's
150, mid
175 or
mid
something like that.
100s. So when they build that, it doesn't gear well with people when they rip it at $1,500 a box and get $50 back. That's hard. So obviously we saw a crash again. I think that deterred a lot of people away. Saw me go, all right, do I want to dive into this when these boxes are crashing? But after that, Select, I think, might have been the second release, if I correct. Um, Things kind of went back to reality, and then I went head in, and would continue to buy over the course of the 3 years because I had access to do that, because my distributors would sell me a lot of it, and I would buy a lot, which helped in my allocation to get an initial cost, even though I'm paying higher prices. So I sit on a lot of Panini Wrestling. I have a lot of Panini Wrestling. It keeps going up because it's drying up. I'm very confident that we're one of maybe four, maybe five people with as much wrestling in house as we do. Meaning, I'm going to say obviously Blowout, DA Steel are up there. I think we're up in that category as far as the amount of Panini wrestling, not Tops, Panini wrestling goes. So I saw the opportunity because A, something I enjoyed, and B, that I felt was grossly undervalued as the years went on. And we all were going to go one day, Panini's going to be done and we're never going to get it back. We're going to miss it. And I think we're already seeing that instantly. A lot of people say Floss was the greatest wrestling card product ever made. The only thing that could have made it better is that those swatches were actually match worn or anything, but again, hands were tied. Everything was on card, no redemptions. Yeah, we didn't get Roman, we didn't get Becky, but again, that was a cooperation with Panini and WWE. But I felt like Lucas and the team at Panini did a phenomenal job in the 3 years that they had it. It will be completely missed. However, I know it's in great hands with a couple of the people headed Tops who are on the product development of it now, and they have some incredible ideas and visions. Plus, the best part is they're getting full cooperation from the WWE. It's unbelievable cooperation. So we're seeing no stickers. We're seeing on card. If it's a sticker, it was like an Isla Dawn, Dawn, Isla Dawn, Isla Dawn, I can't remember anymore. She gone, be a different name now. But I think her top redemptions came back, and they might have been stickers because that's probably all they could get because she's nowhere to be around WWE anymore.
Yeah.
Point being is they want to go on card, they want to go match shoes, they want to go inscriptions, knocking out of the ballpark as far as that goes. So when it goes to percentage, like you asked on that one, Paul, I'm not sure the exact percentage. I can tell you this. Nobody has the WWE singles selection like we do. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm saying that with confidence. At all times, we're known for WWE. I wanted that. Whenever it went on the map in 22, I said, this is my opportunity to go, hey, I was known for a LeBron guy. I want to go to be known as the WWE card guy. I want people to come to our shop and know that, oh my gosh, this is an incredible selection. And I'm like, no, do you want to see our back stock? We have a lot. And as far as the wax goes, we have such a variety from all the years ranging. I even have stuff back from 2018, 2019. I have things of that nature when it was pre-tops. But I'd say we did a really good job at branding ourselves as known as WWE. And I think that also isn't just about product, it's about the collectability that I have with my son and show the Ortons I pick up, the Braves, the Howdies, the Rollins. We're true collectors. And I think people do appreciate that when they see that. And I appreciate true wrestling collectors as well. I know both of you are big collectors. And it's awesome to be able to build a relationship and a community with true wrestling collectors who care about this hobby as much as I do.
That leads to something that Tony and I have been talking about quite a bit lately. Sort of the model, if you will, of bringing wrestling cards to market. It's changed quite a bit. And obviously, Fanatics is trying to consolidate a lot of diverse pieces to try and get as much of it under their roof as they can. I mean, they're a business, they're a very smart business, and things are changing. It wasn't that long ago where online breaks wasn't the dominating way to buy wrestling cards, and it is now. That's a change.
Mhm.
Uh, you mentioned, Ryan, that you buy from distributors, right? So you're obviously not buying from the manufacturers direct, but maybe you can speak sort of to their world. How has things changed for them? Given that their allocations are probably less now, that Fanatics, their strategy is to try and get more product into the lead breakers, and that seems to be the way the hobby is pushing towards at the moment. And again, people can argue till they're blue in the face, is it good or is it bad? But if everyone runs their business as you would, as Tony would, I would, focused on the bottom line, and you can see why. Or the reasons for Fanatics, but how do you think it's changed? Has it been a negative thing, or do you think that you can work within the current structure and still be as successful with your product mix of wrestling as you have been?
Okay, both positive and negative. Well, first thing, there is no distributors with Fanatics anymore in Tops. They do not work
Right.
with any distributor. They got rid of all of them. They only deal with hobby shops or breakers now, and then I think a
Would you
few
be
of the
one of
big
them, right?
retailers. Yeah, we're a hobby shop. So we're called a hybrid. We're considered a hybrid. So we have a hobby shop account and we have a breaker account, and we get on both platforms. Luckily, we've been vocal enough about our love for WWE and our passion and what we do, so we do get healthy allocation on WWE, not out of the initial gate. We have to we kind of get, it goes in waves. I can't really go too much into detail, but wave two is always a higher price based closer on what market is. Wave two might come pre-release or might come on release day or after. So I tend to go heavy. Obviously, example, Cactus Jack went the other way. I think we all can contest it should have been at the product price that it came out at, being that you only get 4 autographs a case. I felt like I wish they could have done at least an autograph a box and thrown a lot of duds. I think that would have changed the perception for everybody. But again, didn't create the product. That's just my opinion from an outsider. Love the product itself. I love the images. I love the colors. I love the looks on card with inscriptions. But that one is, I may be losing money on Cactus Jack here soon, direct from the manufacturer. But however, finance should kind of reconcile, correct itself on that one. It's really hard. I think Tops is like, they're still, fresh with WWE. This is the only second product that they've had in 2025 since Tops Chrome. Technically third if you want to go Cactus Jack for the WrestleMania, but it's just a mock-up of that. Essentially just remove the WrestleMania logo. So to me, it's the
Yeah.
second hobby product that hobby shops
That's a
got.
very expensive logo,
So
by the way. In practical terms,
exactly, yes.
being a street
Yes.
guy, I can tell you what that WrestleMania logo on a base card versus not being there represents. And if you want to spend $100 to have that little logo on your card,
You said it spot on. So again, with the allocation part, I can't get it from any distributor. Hobby shops technically aren't allowed to sell to other hobby shops within 30 days of a release. It's just a rule that
sorry, is that a
we
Fanatics
sign, and
rule?
we
Is that
it's a
Fanatics?
financial, yes.
That comes out
Yes,
Fanatics.
correct. And you can sell. I can sell on my website, and I'm allowed to do that. And if a hobby shop does go on there and buy, then that's fine. I just can't go and sell it on a DealerNet or a Facebook or an eBay or anything like that, or just behind closed doors. And I respect that rule. I get it, and we follow it. So we do get opportunities to buy more WWE. I'm very vocal with that, and I've been luckily enough to get a lot of it. But again, I guess Sapphire was another one that releases a product of Topps Chrome. Did not go well, went the other way. Again, they're still learning the values of stuff because Topps Chrome Hobby came out at a good price, and then it's now shot up. So the other stuff, it needs to come out. They need to kind of figure out a happy medium, but I think in about a year or two, they'll figure that out based on if they have reoccurring products, then they'll know, will this one perform X, this one perform Y. We think we know this is the right price point for the SRP. A lot of that, there's no set in standard like it was with Panini. You kind of knew it was going to be in that threshold, that $150 range, and then maybe cost went up a little bit and they bumped it to 175 map. And then that's just a map you had a price of that. Tops doesn't really give you that data. They don't say, oh, this is the price you need to be on it. Essentially, you're kind of supposed to price no less than what they offer to the general public on release day, not EQLs, not pre-release, what they deem on release day. And you're supposed to be kind of there in 30 days, but that's never been fully said. So, we have to follow the rules the best we can. Some rules are written, some are not written with them. But again, it's good and bad. I think the reason why they got rid of the distributors was certain distributors, I'm not going to say names, were doing things the wrong way. And I'm glad they saw through one of them right away and got rid of them years ago. And they were one of the first ones to go. And what they were doing was barely allocating anything out to people, holding everything back, and then gouging everybody. And they still do that to this day. Luckily, I'm going to say luckily, things have shifted. Things aren't as crazy as they used to be. 24, 25 basketball is not an ideal class. So we see a little bit of allocation on that versus stuff they were holding back. But I can guarantee I won't see any flawless from them, period. But so again, I do miss the opportunity to buy pallets and pallets of WWE from distributors and have access to it at my disposal. However, there's less getting out there. Tops is controlling a lot of it, which is good, in my opinion, to not flood the market and have things collapse. But right now, Cactus Jack is going the other way. I do think long term it will be fine. I think because we're not seeing a lot of WWE products on a yearly basis like we would see in a baseball, football, or basketball, people were so excited for Cactus Jack. They were itching for a new release that was a hobby type release. And I was in breaks all over Fanatics, all over Facebook, and some of the people I deal with. But man, it was rough rips. It was hard at the price points you were paying. I was telling somebody, I think I was like, I'm paying more for Orton and Rollins in this than I was paying for them in flawless breaks. That's just insane to think. So from that standpoint, I think Finest will again recorrect itself, be the right price point for everybody. Two autos a box, it could be duds. People just want to get autographs. They really do. And Topps Chrome is the same way. Two autographs a box. I wish they could have done Cactus with one auto guaranteed. Could have been a dud. It is what it is. So, but again, I think
That's an important part to actually talk about, I think, too, a little bit. I had a customer come in yesterday and she bought a pack of Chrome Bobby and she was ecstatic. She bought one pack and she pulled a redemption for it was an Elton, pretty deadly. She's like she didn't care. It was an autograph. And
see,
all she
it's an
cared about was an
autograph.
autograph. I mean, it was a numbered
Mm-hmm.
five. I mean,
Oh well,
redemption
okay.
for Elton Prince. And she was just attacked by that. And then the next kid came in and he bought a pack. Actually, she pulled it out of a blaster box I sold her. I got a blaster box. She got a redemption for Elton Prince number to five. The
Even
kid bought
better.
a Chrome hobby pack and he pulled redemption for a John Cena autograph.
Wow.
And
Oh my gosh.
he's ecstatic.
Yeah.
And it's just knowing that you have at least a shot. I put like, oh, there's two fresh boxes of hobby in there. You go ahead and there's at least four autographs sitting in there. It's enticing to someone like, they don't care if it's a dud or not a
Mm-hmm.
dud. To me, like, oh, Elton Prince. Okay. I'm happy you're happy you got something, but I agree with you. Like the Cactus Jack, I'm glad I didn't win, get that lottery and win my case that I wanted to get. I got denied because I'm like, oh, now that I found it's only four per case, I'm glad I missed out.
It's a bit tricky when you guys have to play this guessing game. You too, Tony.
Oh yeah.
When you're trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to pack these out, and am I going to make money, and what's the smartest way? Like for example, on the base cards on the Cactus Jack, you saw what they hit the market at when they first came out. They were like insane, right? And I'm like, hang on, there's going to be a shit ton of this stuff hitting eventually. And I've watched week after week those base cards come down, 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 down from like $300
Mm-hmm.
for a base set down to now we're about $75, and by the time I buy them from you, Ryan, they'll be free.
Yep.
They've
Exactly.
you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like that, but you couldn't see that coming, based on a lot of people mistook the WrestleMania release for this release and thought, well, the way that
Correct.
works, and then you guys are saying, well, here's a box price, this is what we got in it, this is what we should reasonably expect, but then the market doesn't react that way, and it all depends on what you get. So it's tricky, and it kind of sucks when you have to take a bath on one release and say, okay, well, I won't make on Cactus Jack on CJ, but I'll do fine on Finest because I've been down the Finest road before and I know what to reasonably expect. But it's hard. It's hard to run a business when you don't know exactly what you're dealing with and what your consumers, what your market is going to do for you. Both of you, Tony, you same thing. We've had these conversations before when you're determining not just what to buy, but how much of something to buy, because one
Hmm.
week to the next. So very tricky. But it seems to me, just based on your comments, Ryan, that this new Fanatic system, you can work within it, and it's not, you say good or bad, but I've heard a lot of people say it sucks, really. Like, the tone of things now is not the way it used to be, and a lot of people are upset by it. I've had to
And
sort of
I'm
change
one of
things.
those guys. I'm one of those guys,
Yes.
Paul, because I mean it's I can't buy product like I used to. I'm not a heavy hitter like Ryan here. I get what I get, and I try to supply my customers. I'm trying to get them indoctrinated with cards. It's always been a goal. but I like to get more into it. But now it's like the allocation and how they do it, where it's a lottery system. It's like buying a Comic-Con San Diego ticket. I gotta get in the lottery to be selected to even buy a ticket now. And it's I'm getting turned down left and right. It's hard for me to get product. I want to get a case of everything so I can just have something here for my customers, and I can't get it. Now I'm paying this outrageous secondary market prices, and it's just it's hard.
Yeah, it's tricky for the consumer too, because unless you're in O'Fallon, Missouri, where you can go to Ryan's and you can get
Yeah.
stuff, like even for us here in Canada, it's getting worse and worse. If you're in Mexico now, you're not even shipping product in and out of Mexico,
Yeah.
from what I understand. The tariffs kicked in here, and on my last shipment to Chuck, it was $18 more than normal for my standard size box. Now I can withstand it. A lot of people can't. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
the structure of everything is changing, but I really appreciate Ryan, you being on the front lines of this. You can sort of comment intelligently that, well, here's the good in it. Here's what we take out of it that will help us build our business and see wrestling cards. Because like I say at the outset, you've done a masterful job of sort of getting wrestling and becoming known for it, and specifically at the national. You and Chad, I think,
Thank you.
Tony, you wouldn't disagree. Those were the two
No,
biggest
no, not at
sellers.
all. It's one of the things I look forward to in the last 4 years now, going to those guys' booths and checking out all the cool stuff they have because I know if there's nothing else in this entire show, those guys have good
I,
shit.
You can
I
count on us.
I've always known the
Chad
big
and I love to
wrestling.
rip.
I've always known the big wrestling guys because I've always been buying it in quantity, and whether it be, Jennings family down in Texas or Chris in the Northeast or you guys, it used to be that before a release would come out, you guys would be calling me, because I was always into the product, and so they would be, here's what I've got. I think I'm going to be able to do it based on all the inserts. But now it's different. Now, like even Ryan on National Treasures, consider how much product I bought from you, and yet still we didn't even get close, and I'm still not done. I'm like three pieces away
Mhm.
from being done. But you know, I must be the only guy out there trying to do this because it's virtually impossible. The whole structure of putting together master sets, base sets, inserts, and it must be hard for PC guys because you're all fighting after these finite cards. Um, but it's great that you've sort of got a handle on where the market is going and which ones are going to make the most sense and how to price them.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is I'm patient. I play the long term game. So
Oh, you
when,
have to.
like, for example, all this Panini stuff that I'm sitting on right now, I mean, I was losing money for a while on rebuys on like Elite and certain things, and but I was patient, and I'm going to do the same thing with Cactus Jack. I'm willing to hold it for a year, 2, 3, 5 years, and with now the new rule by Topps being redemptions 10 years can sit. Why not? I mean, what's it going to hurt? The thing is, it's supply and demand, and things got to dry up. And I'm willing to sit on it. And I've done that with Panini, and it's worked in my advantage. It's going to work in top. So people are like, "Oh, I'll say this Cactus Jack." I mean, I'm okay. I'll. You know what's funny is I will lose money probably the next 2 to 3 months, probably with based on the market to sell it because I'm going to be competitive with all my competitors. But in 6 months, I'll be making profit. In 2 years, I'll be making really good profit. I'm one to be patient with it because I believe in it, and it's just I love it. So for me, it's like I want to go rip. I can just go to my warehouse and get something to rip. I've ripped more immaculate cases than I want to admit. I've ripped probably 45 flawless cases last year myself personally. Well, my son probably ripped 40 of them. I got to maybe do it 5 myself. I'm sitting on 2 of them now, and I should have took for granted. I should have held them, and I'm sitting on 2 sealed that I want to hold long term. I'd like to get more, but they're shooting up through the roof. I really would love to rip one for Christmas, but at the price, it's like I can't justify ripping it. But I think long term they're just going to hold value. So again, biggest takeaway is I played this game long enough in the wax game. I mean, I got into this when I opened up, man. In 2012, I borrowed $6,000 from my best friend. I had $1,000 in my checking account. I had barely any wax on the wall, and we were focused on singles. And that's where my passion is still singles to this day, because that's where we can make our margins. We can control. I got lucky, got into the wax game with the distributor, saw an opportunity, basically, like I said, grew the allocation. And when people were blowing their money during the boom of COVID on cars and dumb things possible that I could tell stories for days about that I knew people were spending on, I continued to reinvest into my business. I still to this day continue to reinvest into my business. And that's where been my focus. And I think that's where we're able to be now where we're at. And that's because I love this industry. I love this hobby. I'm in it for the long haul until the day I retire. And I hope that when I do it, it gets passed down to my family. I hope it becomes a family thing where my kids enjoy it and want to be a part of it and have a career again. So I look at things in the future. I don't look at the now. Too many people look at things in the now and, oh no, I got to get rid of this. I got to dump it. I see people on Facebook like, I just want to be done with this crap. I'm like, okay, sell to me. I think the rock bottom's close, and I think then you're gonna start seeing go the other way. And that's just one example of a product, but that goes on a lot of products that I did over the years. And not everything goes as planned. I'm not saying I'm 100%, but I would say 95 times out of 100, when I believe in something and I do my homework, I'm pretty spot on 95 times out of 100 to where I'm going to make a profit and be patient with. And wrestling just happens to be something that I absolutely love and appreciate way more, that I'm just willing to play 10-year game, 15-year game. Don't care. What would a box of 2014 Topps Chrome WWE go now? What would a case go for? We rumors is the Rock Super's never surfaced. What would that bring on the open market? And let's be honest, in 10 years from now, it's going to bring way more 10 years from now than it is right now.
Right.
It continues to grow. And I love that about this, the wrestling cards finally getting the appreciation, but at the same time, more eyes on it, which means more money, which means driving up everything, which I know we want to talk about too. So
CT Paul, I'm telling you, man, it's like two things here, man. One, inspiring stories to hear from Ryan. So it just makes me feel better about my business and want to continue to keep striving and doing better in my business.
Yeah.
I want to be like RBI Crew, man. That's one thing. And then two, it plays in what you and I've been talking about for years, Paul. It's a stock market mentality of what to buy, when to sell, how, hold them and fold them, man. It's how we've been talking about for years. And this is like Ryan is telling us in real time exactly what we've been preaching for years.
Yeah, play the long game. That's very prescient to see that, because a lot of people, they want money, they want the quick gratification, they want to move stuff, churn and churn. How fast you move your product is the success of your business. But no, you understand that, all right, there's going to be an initial frenzy for this product, but then 6 months from now, a year from now, 3 years from now, as you do, Tony, you have stuff sitting. People are going, oh, I want to buy Finest from 2018. I want to buy SummerSlam from 2016. I want to buy Heritage. I want to buy Undisputed, all that stuff. So again, it just speaks to, it helps when you love the product, when you have a passion for your business and when you're really into wrestling, it allows you to sort of make these moves. So I appreciate you saying that, because not a lot of people have the patience, Ryan, to understand that sometimes you got to play the long con. If you intend to be there for a bit, think about what things are going to look like 2 years from now, where we're going to be hobby-wise, where's the market's going to be, economics, everything, so
Hey, listen,
congratulations to you on
if you're a
all of
day
this.
trader, if you're a day trader,
Yeah.
guys like Ryan, myself, I'm looking to buy. If you're
Yep.
not in for the long
Bye.
term, I'm looking to buy, man.
Yep.
Yeah, because you guys get it. You guys get it. And, Tony, you've got a massive collection of wrestling cards, So I'm looking at two of the guys that probably have the biggest inventories or close to the biggest inventories in one spot of cards. And, there's a bit of science and there's a bit of smarts involved to bring this product to market, keep it on your shelves, and know when to strike, when to sell it, how to price it, how to repack it, all that stuff that you guys do. Very interesting times for
I'm
sure.
just jazz talking to Ryan right now, man. It's like it's motivating to me. I want to.
Well,
I have new. I think I'm going to walk away from this interview with new goals and new
Yeah,
dreams
well,
here now.
Ryan,
So
Ryan, Ryan was you 15 years ago, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
well, and when I said I had the biggest wrestling collection, I didn't mean to knock at him, because I know his wrestling card collection is incredible and he has a lot. When I said I was doing, it was going to be product mixed in with that. And I think we stand by the product for sure. And the singles, as far as the shop goes, I would love to check out your shop if I'm ever in the
And,
area
and you
too. So
carry a lot of
don't think
high-end.
I was taking a knock at you and trying to be the
oh
heel that
no,
I
no,
can
no, and
be.
I
No,
don't.
no.
No,
know
I think
you.
and I think I think
Like
Paul. I think Paul's giving me way too much credit for that kind of stuff, because it's
Well,
not
no,
that
I've
impressive.
been
Trust
in
me.
I've been in that back room, like as a collector that has about
yeah,
45,000 unique pieces,
it's
Tony's got
awesome.
double
I
that,
love it.
doubles and triples and quadruples of everything, but he's got a shit ton of cards back there. And every time we get together, I'm like, all right, let's get those cards out of there for you, because there's just that
I
it's
got
all
a guy who
gone.
comes in every Friday. I got a crazy car collector, Nick. Shout out to Nick. Comes in every Friday, and he's been putting everything I have in a spreadsheet so that we can import it into a database one day. And I haven't decided if I'm going to build that database myself or just pay a company to do it, where someone can come in here with an iPad and just go, what do you got, Bray Wyatt cards? Well, boom, and it pulls up everything from WTC possibly. So you have a listing of everything that's going to be there, what's in stock, what's not in stock. Because I'm not going to put my singles out on the floor for people to go through. I've spent 30 years organizing it. Ain't no one going to go through it and disorganize my
Muck it up.
organization.
So,
And so I'll go pull it.
One person to speak to about this, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Rob Veras from Burbank. Rob
Hmm.
would be a great person to talk to in this database. Is obviously he's known for having. I mean, his database is unbelievable. His cards are unbelievable. Rob is very, very knowledgeable in this industry, and I have a lot of respect for him. And got to have a great 45-minute conversation with at our booth with Neil and I at the National, and it was awesome to see his thoughts on what we were doing and respect that he showed for us, even though we've looked up to this guy for years. And if you ever get to that point, I'll have to introduce you to Rob. He would be a
Please.
perfect guy to talk to because he's like you. If his organization is that stuff is not in the fort, but if you go into his new store, which is massive now, it's out in Burbank, California. It used to be like almost like a CVS or whatever. You can search the database and it tells you the price and what he has. You can order it. They'll pull it for you while you're there. It's unbelievable. So if you ever get to
Exactly
that
what I
point,
want to do, but wrestling.
that's Rob. That would be Rob, and I will set that meeting up for you guys to meet. And Rob would love to take time to chat with you because that's just the type of guy he is.
Love it.
Nice. Well, guys, thank you very much. I don't have anything else. Any other thoughts before you wrap it up, Ryan?
No, this is great, man.
Uh,
Again, this has been a great chit chat, man. I love it. It's motivating to me.
I knew it
I
would be.
love seeing the enthusiasm from guys like Ryan, the hobby. Love seeing it, man, because it just makes me want to strive to do better.
Thank you. I appreciate that. No, and again, that's just me every day. That's me. Literally, I'm literally excited to go back to my desk and work on cards, get a price. Our team's listing cards daily on the website. Tyson's out here buying. Man, I love this. Again, goes a lot back to Burbank and what they do out there. If you're not following them, watch the stuff that they do. It'll inspire you. So I'm getting a lot of inspiration, not just from him. Indie Card Exchange, Sports Card Junction, shops across this world. I get inspiration from, and a lot of people like tell me that they get inspiration from me, and that means a lot to me. I had somebody, a kid named Ryan, I've known a very long time since he was a kid. He's an adult now. Send me a picture today. I had no idea. He goes, and I'll just read it to you. This is what makes me wake up and appreciate what I do day in and day out. He literally sent me a picture of a shop that he is now opening. Ryan, hey Ryan, hope all is well with you and the family. You are the big reason I'm opening a store. Appreciate early stages still, and that just to me
Wow.
got that text at 8:10 this morning. It means so much to
Love
me.
that.
Tony, if you guys ever need to reach out to me for anything, you have my number. You guys can reach out. I'm always that way. I make time for everybody. I literally am willing to give my knowledge and advice to anybody who asks. I'm honest as it can be, and I will always be that way. Obviously, I can't divulge certain things as a business, but I will give you my strategies. And I'm not saying 100% or I'm accurate, but I've done this long enough and I'm passionate enough, and I'll fight Owen's fight until the day I die for what I believe in. And I give this 110% day in, and I have an amazing team under me. And we wouldn't be to where we are at this level now. It started with 2 guys, and now we're like 15 people, employees. I have right now like 7 people here working today, and if they're behind the scenes, they're shipping orders, listing cards, helping customers. I hope to have you both visit my store one day, and I'd love
Oh, I
to come
love it.
out and see your store as well, Tony. Just to see all those wrestling cards to me would be awesome. So thank you again for the opportunity. It was great. I'm happy to do this anytime you need me to. I'm willing to make time for you guys anytime you need me.
Well, thank you
Appreciate it,
very
Ryan.
much,
Thank you so
Ryan.
much.
Yeah, congratulations on your success, how well you've done in the space, and thank you for joining me and Tony today. Once again, everyone, Ryan Bannister from Arbery Crew 7 in Missouri with Tony Vela. I'm Paul Anand. Thanks for watching. We'll be back at you guys soon.